all veterans of the United States military. Ward Churchill's a Vietnam veteran. I believe Dennis Banks was a Vietnam veteran. Geronimo Pratt was a two-tour Vietnam veteran, I believe. The longest-serving political prisoner in the United States is a black liberation fighter, Vietnam veteran. Ed Poindexter, who's a Black Panther, is a Vietnam veteran. No members of the Weather Underground served in Vietnam, which shows you some of the class dynamics that were going on in like the liberation fights of the 60s and 70s when it came to like military. The reason I say this is because it's very important for us. I assume we're all like pretty into work here. To know that there's a difference between the man or woman in uniform and the policy. And the sooner the anti-war crowd understands that as best as possible, the closer we get to ending war. Things like that are really obvious when things happen in, let's say, Yugoslavia, when Milosevic was overthrown, or last month in Tunisia, when Ben Ali was overthrown, when the soldiers joined the crowds. That's an important moment. It's better than having the soldiers shoot at you. I don't know this from experience, but it's an assumption. It's an educated assumption. Maybe if it's like the Swedish military, you stand a chance, but this is America. So I co-founded an organization called the Civilian Soldier Alliance. This is a military town. And what we do is we work really closely with an organization called Iraq Veterans Against the War, which has almost 2,000 members. We work with Afghanistan veterans, with Iraq veterans. We work with folks who did prison time, who refused to serve, folks who refused to deploy, folks who went to Iraq or Afghanistan and refused to fire their weapons after a point, people who spoke up, people who organized, people who got kicked out of the military for raising their voices, for having blogs, for doing interviews when they weren't supposed to. My friend got kicked out. He was an officer. He tried to organize other officers to come out with a statement saying that Bush was legally a war criminal and that they had the right to refuse orders. All these types of people, that's who we work with and support. And I'd love, if anyone's interested in hearing about what we do, if you're in the military, if you've been in the military, if you know anybody who has, family members, friends, if you are just interested in getting involved in that work, I'd love to help you. That's what we do. And this song I wrote after reading a book by a Vietnam veteran named Terry Whitmore. And has anyone seen the documentary Sir No Sir? Woo! Everyone else? Second homework assignment. That's due in 2 weeks. Sir No Sir by David Zeiger. Look it up on YouTube. Amazing. It's about a sort of blows like my generation seemed to think that like the hippies was the thing in Vietnam. That was the thing that was like the big thing in Vietnam. And then I found out that 11% of the U.S. military deserted. And I was like, oh, that's rather important detail. 500,000 soldiers, that's a lot. This is about one of them. And it's about the civilians who helped him escape. So it's not just about a soldier, it's also about the non-soldier. Terry Whitmore went off to war. He saw the same nightmare so many seen before. He saw the facts all distorted, murders unreported, burned down villages, mass graves and more. But he shook it off, tried to play it cool. Awoke each morning trying to make it through. Just take it day by day and try to kill the enemy, 'cause if you don't, he or she might be killing you. Terry Whitmore was a Marine, a hard and angry, well-oiled machine, ready on command to tighten up his hand and send 1,000 rounds flying through the trees. He walked the trails, each step with care, in case a landmine start exploding everywhere. But as the bodies piled up, he didn't seem so tough, 'cause those romantic myths of war all disappeared. Terry Whitmore, he got it bad, countless shards of metal sticking in his leg. They were under open skies when they were taken by surprise, and the mortar landed a couple of feet away. And he was taken off to Japan, got a medal pin from LBJ. ticket for free on the Underground Railroad heading west. So there he was, all in disguise, deserting on with 6 other guys. And he said, fuck you, Uncle Sam, I've got my freedom back again. You can keep your war and all your racist lies. 'Cause I was fighting the Viet Cong while back in Memphis, cops was chasing us with dogs. Did I really do that shit? This country pushed me into it. Terry Whitmore's fight was not in Vietnam. Terry Whitmore, he was but one of the soldiers who did what had to be done. 'Cause in breaking with the lies, he saved countless lives. When he walked away, he helped end Vietnam. When he walked away, he helped end Vietnam. Thanks, y'all. I got like 5 more songs. Y'all cool with that?
Yeah.
Folks?
Yeah.
15, 27.
So this is actually the first time I've ever played a show in San Diego.
Finally.
Yeah, and I have like a relationship with this city in a kind of fucked up way. For instance, this that I have on my arm, I have this because my friend, my childhood babysitter Austin, was a dolphin trainer for the Navy here in San Diego, and in 2006 he deployed to Iraq, and he didn't come home. He was blown up 2 weeks before he was supposed to come home, and he volunteered to go. He wanted to go. He was bored in the Navy here in San Diego, and he wanted some action or whatever. And about a month after action, his emails to friends and family started being increasingly, what the fuck am I doing here? This is stupid. This is fucked up. Yada, yada, yada. So, I wrote this because after he died, and this is a person who like taught me to tie my shoes. He like wiped my ass when I was little. Like he taught me to say fuck. You know, used very poetically several times now. But I was trying to explain to his and my closest friends and people I grew up with that I'm not mad at all at the people who killed him, and I don't think that they did something wrong. I think it's fucked up how it fell. I think it's fucked up that anybody has died in any war. But like specifically in relation to my friend, he was there with a gun, you know what I mean? And other people were there with guns too and bombs, as he was, and that's like why war's fucked up, and that's how it happens. And I blame other people for his death, not the people who set the bomb. And I hope that if this country is occupied by a military force, that I would be on the side of the resistance. So I wrote this song about that. Every bomb carries with it the stories of the dead. The stories shared, choking back tears between the family and the friends. Every name has a history, every bomb is an end. The memories of the grieving are all that we've got left. And this is how it ends. You see your friend lying in his brand new coffin. The shaky hands that built the bomb and set it to explode picked the date and the time and placed it on the road. They didn't write the plans for war, they didn't attack New York. They're victims of a foreign policy, and that's what they're fighting for. And this is how it ends. You see your friend lying in his brand new coffin. And how would you react If soldiers occupied your streets, would you fight in the name of your country like Muhammad and Khalid? We took this nation's world and everybody knows what for. I don't blame the ones who built the bomb, I blame the ones who built the war. And this is how it ends. You see your friend lying in his brand new coffin. Thanks, y'all. Thanks for... So now for something completely different, to keep the night nice and bipolar, I'm going to play a comedy song. This song is dedicated to the folks in Egypt, and Tunisia, and Jordan, and Syria, and Yemen, and Iraq, who are in the streets right now fighting against the mostly U.S. propped up dictators of the Middle East, who hopefully will all fall shortly. In our lifetime at least. Hopefully Mubarak falls hard, but he's still clinging on. Do you like how I just poured water all over my face?
Yes.
That's the intro to the comedy song. But yeah, so Woody Guthrie a long time ago wrote a song called Mean Talkin. Has anyone heard this song? It's about a really mean guy. And you're like, why is this guy so mean? He wants you to like sleep with all the insects and stuff. And he's mean because he breaks unions. That's what he does for a living. So we thought, man, the U.S. breaks up more than unions. They deserve a song about how they're mean. So this is for the United States. I wrote this with my good friend Mark Gunnery, who's part of Riot Folk as well. And the George Bush accent that comes in and out in this song, it's not just ironic. It is meant to sound like a real person. But the thing about George Bush's accent, his voice, his arrogance, it's not just like a Texas accent, it's the arrogance with which he spoke. I think the world is still hearing that, you know? Because Obama's got the exact same foreign policy, many of the same people, Robert Gates, for instance, the same Secretary of Defense. And so Obama hasn't changed any of that. He's towing the line. But I think George Bush's voice is still reverberating around the corners of the world. So I thought to honor him, to honor his ability to change the voice of America, I'm still going to invoke it in this song. Well, I'm the meanest man, I got a five-sided brain. Most folks around me think I'm insane, but it doesn't faze me, not one bit. You say I'm crazy, I don't give a shit, I'm mean. I'm mean to my mother, I'm mean to my brother, mean to anyone I think of as an other. And if you don't want to play nice with me, I'll bring democracy to your stupid country, I'm mean. That good Mubarak democracy, you know? That 30-year democracy. Well, I'm mean in the East, I'm mean in the West. Free market meanness is what I like best. I go around putting lots of folks in debt, and then I fuck them over on the interest. The econ people call them structural adjustment programs, neoliberal reform, subprime loans. I just call it mean myself. What do we call, this is a trivia question, what do we call this thing that we're sitting inside of right now? What's this called? House. House, thank you. What do you call when people live in it usually?
Home.
Thank you. Does anybody know the Wall Street term for a home? It's a mortgage-backed security. Just in case you're wondering. That's the people we're dealing with. These people control the world. Yeah, I picked up a new mortgage-backed security yesterday, a couple of them. So I was trying to think of like terms to describe other situations in our lives, such as like a gathering of people like this. I was thinking it's like good long-term friendship investment climate. Some people call it like a party, get together. That's the only climate change that Wall Street's concerned about, is the investment climate, unfortunately. Governments with the army or economics for fruit and